Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, July 7th at 6:01 PM, and I'm called to order the Freetown Board of Selectmen meeting. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Will be available on our town's YouTube page as well as by Zoom. We're going to start tonight with agenda item number 1. Acknowledge the town clerk, Cheryl Estrella's designation of Certified Massachusetts Municipal Clerk, CMMC. So, Cheryl, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I said it in person or by the phone, but it speaks volumes of you, right? Because you were able to do something that a lot of other clerks haven't done. So it obviously isn't easy, so we're proud of you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate
And I'll keep saying it, but
Well, I'll take the turn and say congratulations as well. I know you pride yourself in working hard and putting your nose down and just sticking to it. And 120 says right, 120 out of 310, and you have one of the top certifications or the certifications you need for your position. Congrats. I know you worked your tail off for it, and I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you so
Good
much.
job.
Thank you.
so I'm just going to read something to call to the vote, and it says, hello. The Board of Selectmen would like to formally recognize Town Clerk Cheryl Estrella for achieving the designation of Certified Massachusetts Municipal Clerk, CMMC, award by the Massachusetts Town Clerks Association. This professional designation is earned through a rigorous program requiring a combination of formal education, years of municipal experience, active participation in professional development programs, participating in specialized training programs, and attending and at state-sponsored workshop and conferences. Topics include election law, public records, vital statistics, municipal finance, land use, and ethics. Training is provided and in collaboration, well, I could not spit that one out, with several state agencies, including the Massachusetts Gaming Commission, State Ethics Commissions, Department of Revenue, Attorney General's Office, Office of the Secretary of the Commonwealth, State Elections Division, and Public Records Division, and the Registry of Vital Records and Statistics. As a final component, candidates who have obtained a minimum of 3 complete years as a town clerk can apply and must complete and pass a comprehensive 300 question assessment testing both their knowledge and practical application across all subject areas. Cheryl's successful completion of this demanding process reflects her dedication to professional excellence and her commitment to providing knowledgeable and effective services to the residents of Freetown. So, I mean, that just shows you a little bit more of that blurb that I just read, right, of how much it actually takes to get where you are. So,
I appreciate the acknowledgement.
yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. We have some other individuals here who would also
Shall we?
talk to you. Come on up.
Shall we come on up? Thank you. Good evening. I'm State Senator Michael Rodrigues, and I wanted to come and join Representative Fiola and Representative Willett in recognizing Cheryl and her accomplishments. You know, in a world of government, there's probably no more underappreciated, harder working folks than our town clerks throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We put so many responsibilities upon the town clerks. You named some of them already, whether it's vital statistics, elections, records, everything. And the town clerks have to keep it all together and make the machine work. And for Cheryl to take the initiative to professionalize herself and to achieve this accomplishment is just amazing. And it's going to pay dividends for the town of Freetown. So Cheryl, congratulations. I can't tell you how proud we all are, because you make our job easier, and we try to make your job easier, not always, as we give you more responsibilities, but we value and appreciate what you do, yourself and your peers and your colleagues, town clerks across the Commonwealth, what you do every single day. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joyce as a state representative, and I can attest to everything everyone has said, the select board members, the senator. You just have to walk into town hall. She could use a little more space. I'm only kidding.
I just got some new space. I just got some new
Yeah, but
space.
excuse me.
I'll be happy for a little bit.
A little bit of space. But whenever there is an issue, whenever there's something new that has come upon the clerks of the Commonwealth, Cheryl is always the one who's done her research, gives us a call, gives us the pros, the cons, and lets us know why that might need tweaking, or that might be right, or that may not be right. So, you know, you can't ask for anything more in a professional for the town of Freetown. So you're very lucky, all of you, to have Cheryl here. And it is with pride, and of course, then I'll let my colleague, our other representative for Freetown, speak as well. But on all our behalf, we want to present this citation to you today, very simply in, well, let me put my glasses on, it's very simply. All right, very simply, to Cheryl A. Estrella, from us, the delegation, in recognition of the occasion of your designation as a certified Massachusetts municipal clerk. We know how difficult it was to do it, how dedicated you were, and many congratulations on this achievement dated today to us, to you, in front of this board and the community that may be watching. So thank you, Cheryl. We're so
Thank you so
proud of
much.
you.
Thank you.
Second, Representative Willett?
Sure. Well, as the rookie legislator up here, I'd also like to congratulate you, and it's been a pleasure so far working with you, and hopefully we can keep on doing so. Again, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Maybe we can take a picture in front of the podium, and then we'll turn it over to you, Cheryl, so we can get out of your way here. Is that it? Cheryl, do you want to get in the middle of
Oh,
it?
certainly.
Or the middle and a half?
Okay, sorry, I didn't notice you.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you, the selectmen, for allowing us.
Thank you.
Just have a brief statement, if you would mind.
Absolutely,
Thank you
please.
so much. I would like to start by saying how truly honored and humbled I am to receive my Massachusetts Certified Municipal Clerk Certificate and to be recognized today with a legislative citation and proclamation. It's not often that our work as municipal clerks is in the spotlight, so this moment means more to me than I can fully express. To the Massachusetts Legislature, thank you for taking the time to acknowledge this achievement and the role of town and city clerks across the Commonwealth. Your recognition validates the hard work, long hours, and deep commitment that we bring to our communities every single day. This certification is the result of years of learning, professional development, and guidance from incredible mentors, colleagues, and friends. I share this moment with all of you, especially those who have encouraged me, challenged me, and reminded me why this work matters. The work that we do in local government is often behind the scenes, but it's incredibly meaningful. I'm proud to be a part of a profession that values accuracy, integrity, and service to our communities. Being a municipal clerk is more than a job, it's a calling. It's about public trust, integrity, and service. I'm proud to stand among so many dedicated professionals who gave their all to ensure local government runs smoothly and efficiently. Thank you again for this honor, for the support, and for allowing me the privilege to serve the community. Thank you.
Thank you again. We appreciate it. And congratulations, Cheryl.
Take care, I'll see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I hope you all have a great night.
It was very sweet.
Thank you. Yes.
Agenda item number 2. Discussion and vote whether to replace or repair the roof at Freetown Elementary School. So, I don't know, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll start with this. So, you know, we've been working on the FES, Freetown Elementary School roof. We had an inspection done, then we had a scan done, because it's I'm not sure if it's 20 or 25 years old, but coming to the end of life for the roof. So we had a company come in, Rob Verl is on Zoom as well, come in and do some testing. We had it scanned, and there are some wet spots on the roof, which we expected, given the age of the roof. But he has given us information about a different application to fix the roof, actually like pouring something over the top, a different application than actually repairing the roof conventionally. So there's a couple of decisions that I need for the town to move forward with what we're gonna do with the Freetown Elementary roof. One is, do we want to use this different application? And I'll let Rob maybe explain it a little bit more in depth. Or do we want to do conventional? And do we want to phase it in 1 or 2 phases because of the cost? And so those are the kind of the things that I thought we need to make decisions, and we need to make them probably sooner than later. So I asked Rob to come on, he's on Zoom, to possibly talk about the different this application that he's recommending that we do to the roof, and the pros and cons of that. And then you have in front of you, I think you have a budget that tells you the cost on how we do it, whether we do it as a phased approach, whether we just fix the wet spots, then do the phased approach, or whether we just do it all at once. Because of course, I'm gonna have to get funding, so this is something I'm looking probably to fund at the next town meeting, not the one in July, but the one in the fall. So, I don't know, is Mr. Veralt on the Zoom, if you can, you want to add to that a little bit?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. So, we came out in 2024 to help perform some evaluations of the Freetown Elementary School roof. We subsequently scanned that roof and identified about 10% wet insulation, saturated insulation. And then provided some budgets to Freetown in regards to the options as to what's next. The roof is approaching about 25 years of life, which is at the end of its serviceable life. So a decision does need to be made whether whether you are going to replace it. And I identified an alternative method, which is called a fluid applied restoration, where you leave the existing membrane in place, remove the wet insulation that's trapped below that membrane, and then restore that membrane with a fluid applied waterproofing membrane on top of it. So that application is more economical. Actually, many districts in Massachusetts have employed this technique to retain what has already been invested in, meaning the existing membrane, the existing insulation that would remain, and a stronger liquid applied membrane is applied to the top of that existing membrane. So we've done a fair amount of due diligence along with the infrared scan. We've actually taken some lab tests of the existing membrane, and we have qualified that as a candidate, as a viable candidate to be considered for a restoration. So we've done a fair amount of due diligence and proven that this membrane would be a good candidate. It is at the end of its life, but we can still salvage a lot of what has already been invested in and retain that for the town and for the school system. So the fluid applied restoration, again, is a more economical version than a roof replacement. We've provided budgets to outline a phased approach or to do this all in 1 year. We've also outlined budgets to replace the roof entirely as well.
Thank you. So, couple of questions. You started by saying that people have used it. I'm curious if you have any idea of how many school systems or buildings of this size have used this approach.
Yeah, we have, my company has done about 20 in the last 4 years. I would say over the course of Massachusetts, it's probably double, if not triple that number with other similar types of systems. So it's a fairly fairly commonplace in the industry. I have personally worked on projects of this size and scale. In Dover, Sherborne is one district not too far away from you folks that have employed this type of technology. Chelsea Public Schools did this on all of their schools, similar sizes to this. So it's fairly commonplace. I would say it's becoming more, the technology is becoming more and more robust. The MSBA, the Mass School Building Authority, is actually instructing their designers to look at these type of fluid applied restorations prior to looking towards a re-roof. There's a lot of benefit from a disruption standpoint, the amount of roof that can be done in a year, and also retaining the existing insulation and membrane that's on these buildings. Therefore, it does not end up in a landfill. So there's a bit of a sustainable and environmental friendly factor to it as well.
Carl, any questions?
Yes. So in your statement of work, you state that we get a 20-year warranty with this and a 2-year workmanship warranty. Is that still correct?
Yes, that's correct. The type of system that we proposed is a 20-year warranted system that is warranted for 20 years and should last about 25 years of serviceable life. So the existing membrane that you have now is a single ply membrane that's 60 mils of thickness. The fluid applied material that's proposed is actually it's a polyurea type material, but polyurea or polyurethane would be in very similar categories there. So you'd actually be creating 80 to 90 mils of additional thickness over your existing 60 mil membrane. So you're not only, you're essentially over doubling the thickness of what you already have with actually a much tougher, more robust membrane.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because in your report you state that we lost about 9 mils of thickness over the life of the roofing. So my concern was, if we're adding, especially if we're going 80, 90 mil, much thicker, during your scans, did we notice any, I guess, for lack of better words, any rot or any structural issues that might happen by adding all that weight to the roof?
The amount of weight would actually be negligible with a coating system. The membrane is 60 mils, but that doesn't account for much weight on the roof. The majority of the weight is in, you have a much thicker assembly with your insulation. You have 4.5 to, you have about 4.5 inches of existing insulation on the roof. Code stipulates that you can't add more than 5% of weight to a roof without a structural evaluation. This wouldn't even add over a pound per square foot.
Oh, excellent. And I'm assuming while you guys are up there, go ahead. Sorry. You cut off. I spoke over you. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said you'd be adding less than a half a pound per square foot.
Thank you. And I'm sure you looked at it while you're up there. I'm assuming you saw the gutter systems for the rain system. That kind of sets in, most residential or commercial buildings. Adding that extra thickness, it won't disrupt the flow of the water, would it?
No, this just to put it in perspective, because other than in roofing, people don't think in mil thickness. 60 mils is about the size of a dime, about the thickness of a dime. So you'd be adding the thickness of maybe like a penny and a half here. It's really not an additional thickness. So no, it wouldn't be prohibiting water from getting off the roof. We would take that into consideration as well. The wet insulation would be removed. If there is any sort of existing damage to edge metal or gutters, that would be addressed as part of this project. If we were to discover any areas of standing water that needed to be mitigated, that could be done as a part of this project as well. So there is opportunity during this type of application to remedy anything that may be deficient or not optimal with the roof assembly at that point.
So, question, what is the average warranty for a new roof replacement? So, you say we got about 20 years on this one, so I'm just trying to think of it, from both sides.
A single ply roof membrane, so similar to what you have in place now, would be a 20-year warranty. If you were to upgrade to a multi-ply modified bitumen assembly, you could get a 30-year warranty.
Yeah, so this is right in line with basically a new roof. So then my only other question, and I'm sorry to keep hammering you with questions, is
I'm happy to answer.
say a new piece of, there's equipment and stuff up on that roof, right? So say they need to go up there and put in a new condenser or AC unit or anything like that. There's no issue with cutting into the membrane in order to change around any equipment that might be up on the roof?
Nope, that's very common to do. The only thing is it would be, a little bit more durable material, so they may have to use a little bit more robust tools, but you're cutting into the roof anyway. For example, if they're using just a typical utility knife now to cut into the membrane, they may need to use a Sawzall just to, again, get through a little bit more tough material. But very commonplace, contractor's going to have all those tools where they can cut into the roof, add a penetration, add a curb, whatever they may need to do, and then they would just patch that in with the similar material to maintain the warranty, just like you would do if you had a typical single ply membrane roof. So no significant difference, or it wouldn't prohibit the contractor from being able to add something through the membrane.
Okay.
I guess my question I have is, I don't know if it's for you or for Debbie, regarding to reduce the cost of the building. We thought of solar early on, right? This is how we got to this point, talking about the roof. By adding this membrane, do we fix that problem? Potentially revisit the solar idea so we can offset the costs of operating the building?
Oh, I think that's a good question for Rob.
This would allow you to have a solar-ready roof. We've done a couple applications where this application is applied prior to a solar system being put on. We did this in Newburyport. We also did that in Medford at the Andrews School. So it does. You're essentially creating a stronger membrane. So it does allow for, more robust membrane to be in place, and the warranty of the roof system now is going to align with the warranty of the solar system, or the expected lifespan of that solar system. So those two things are going to align. So you're not going to have to remove the solar down the road in order to replace the roof. So it's pretty common for solar to be put over these types of systems.
Thank you.
One thing that it wouldn't address is the you would need to evaluate your roof for structural integrity, that it can handle the solar, but that is not a part of the membrane or the insulation. That really refers to like the roof decking, where whether it's a re-roof project or a restoration project, either one of those projects would not address a structural capacity issue in order to take that added capacity for solar.
I guess my last question is this. So in your quote, you have a phased approach of about 2.6 million, and a single-year approach of 2.1 million, and of course the full roof replacement in different years, 27 and 2018. So looking at the phased approach, you have phase 1, fluid application restoration, phase 2, a year later, but then you go to a single-year approach, you just have 1. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out what all that means. They all say the same thing, costs about the same, but one is just applied differently, I guess?
No, it would be the exact same system. So the difference in cost here is you'd be getting the exact same system. You're just doing it in chunks. So, for example, if the town were needed to spread money over a couple of year period, that's how you would do it. So. The additional cost would just be you're losing economy of scale here. So if you were to replace your wet insulation isolated from the project, there'd be additional costs there from mobilization. Same thing with, doing the projects in chunks, right? It's going to cost a little bit more to do it in different years. You have an additional mobilization cost, you lose some economy of scale, again, permits, overhead, profit margins for the contractor, an architect to bid this out on 2 occasions. So a phased approach would be a little more costly, and then you're also putting that out over multiple years. Just general increase in labor, increase in material costs in 27 compared to 26. So there'd be a little more cost there. So you're looking at probably roughly speaking, $400,000 difference with a phased approach versus doing it in a single year.
I think we talked about this, Rob, but is this something that can be done while the kids are in school? Or does it have to be done in the summer months?
It can be done while kids are in school. I've worked through multiple applications where we have done that. We did that in Chelsea. We actually did that in Dover Sherborne. We did that this year in Holliston. Holliston we started in May. So this product that's proposed here is a polyurea, which is a 0 VOC low odor system. We do this in a lot of buildings that are occupied. Maybe it's not even a school, but it's a business or a manufacturing plant where they are occupied year round. So 0 VOC means there's no volatile content, nothing that's bad for you in there in terms of like inhalation, and then low odor, really just speaks to kind of your general disruptions to the building from having an odor. So from that perspective, there is really minimal disturbance, and then additionally to that, the type of work is very quiet, unlike a roof replacement where every single day you're ripping down to the structural deck, which is very loud. There's banging, there's machinery that's running. Think of it as like painting the roof. It's a little more intricate than just painting, but similar to painting in terms of there's not a lot of noise, there's not a lot of like heavy equipment or machinery required to do this. So other than the replacement of that 10% of wet insulation, which would be right at the beginning of the project, it's very minimally invasive for the tenant or for the occupants of the building. And then from a construction standpoint, you really don't need cranes, you don't need a lot of machinery on the ground that would impact the daily operations of a school. In the public setting, contractors bidding on this, you would build into the bid package that, workers on the site need to be Corey checked and stuff like that, but no workers would need to be entering the building. All the roofs on the exterior of the building, so no one would really be entering.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You good, Kyle?
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. So,
Yeah, when I started looking at this, one of my concerns was the wet spots, right? So I asked Rob for a quote to just fix the wet insulation, figuring let's get that under fixed so the roof doesn't get worse. But as you can see, it's very expensive to just do that. And then he gave us the phases, because the phases are you do half the roof this year, the other half next year. And then I said, well, is it gonna be cheaper to do the single-year approach? So in the single-year approach, the wet insulation will be, that's part of that, will be fixed. So I'm not sure what the board's desire is. As you know, we have funding in capital stabilization. So I think the savings are almost significant enough that it makes sense to possibly do it in a single phase, but these are the decisions that I was looking for direction from the board on. And I don't know if Jack has any, Mr. Higgins from the school, if there's any other information that you want to add to this or ask about this?
I just had I know you asked, he said that it could be done during the school year. I'm just curious if there's a limitation regarding the season or the weather. Like, must this be done in the spring, summer, fall, or could this be done in winter?
Could you hear that question?
Did you hear that,
No,
Ron?
I couldn't.
So his question was, is that you stated that you can do it when, school's in session, but is there seasonality as to when it can be done? Can it be done in the winter or not? Or?
No, it cannot be done in the winter. You could start this application as early as, I would say, April 1st, and we typically go up to November 1st with it. So there is seasonality. So you can do spring, you can do fall, and obviously summer, but you cannot do it throughout the winter months. The wet insulation could be replaced at any time of the year. Just to add to Deborah's comments, you would lose a little bit of economy of scale for replacing the wet insulation by doing that ahead of time. The one advantage of doing that is that wet insulation's in there. It's not gonna make your roof, it's not gonna like spread or make your roof worse as long as the open conditions are closed to not allow more wet insulation. But when you do have wet insulation, that wet insulation is not drying out. It's like putting a sponge into a plastic bag. It's just gonna, that insulation is very porous. That moisture is just going to be retained there. So in terms of mold, mildew, the potential of poor indoor air quality, just those decisions to be made of, hey, this is going to stay here for another year. It's not going to cause your roof to fail, but it's detrimental to the system. It can be somewhat detrimental to the building. So there's a little bit of advantage to removing that early, but it does offset a lot nicer into the project if you do everything at once. Given that the cost of that, just the removal of the wet insulation was fairly low, it's not a huge cost differential, but doing the restoration in different years, that does change the project a little bit. You definitely would lose a little bit of economy of scale, but the replacement of the wet insulation is a definitely a more benign activity. It's not a huge cost driver. So whether you choose to do that with the project in 26 or choose to do that this year, there wouldn't be huge impacts either way.
Very good.
I think the one other consideration Rob and I had discussed is there's a lot of applications for the MSPC, the funding through the school system, and that's going to come hit. And Rob, you can jump in, that's gonna hit probably next year. So it may be difficult to actually get contractors to do the work. So my thought was, since we don't have that funding we're gonna pay, maybe we jump on it sooner than later because, so that's part of what's going on as well. But that's part of the decision,
Yeah,
right?
so the MSBA, Mass School Building Authority, paused their program for 2 years, and they've since resumed. And this year that we're in, 2025, is a design year, and they've now elected to do a 2-year period. So, for example, 25 is a design year. Districts were selected in '24. '25 is a design year for 71 schools, and then 2026 is actually the construction year. So if you, again, did choose to do this in '26, my recommendation would be to get a designer on board really as soon as possible to design this project, get all the documents ready, and bid it out as soon as possible. You could potentially even bid this job in quarter 3 or 4 of this year, get it bid and awarded prior to a lot of the '26 projects coming out, and you could even start this job in April and try to beat some of the rush. 71 schools in Massachusetts got selected for roof replacements, and again, that's going to be a huge demand on the system, not only from really from a contractor side. There's going to be a lot of contractors losing capacity pretty early once the bulk of these projects are going out to bid.
So who puts that in? Is that the town, the school? Is that Rob? Who puts that? Who does that funding? Because I'm looking at it like this, long term.
We missed the deadline on that
We
funding.
missed the deadline?
But we also have talked about it with the group, Greg and Jack, myself. We need doors and windows at that school as well. And I thought we could do it all together as one project, but I was wrong. You can't do both. And the doors and the windows are actually going to be more money than the roof. So I think that would be the application we might be looking at next round, and I'm not sure. I know Greg is out, unfortunately. He might have some more information. I don't know if you have any information, but we also know that school's going to need that.
Correct. The doors and windows would be the next phase of the repairs on the building. Which is a pretty substantial project, as we know. It is, as Ms. Petty said, that it is a greater cost than a roof repair or whatever this new application would be. And the applications for that would be in a year with the design for a year, and then we're looking at construction a year after that. The problem with the roof is that if we waited until '26, is that repair doesn't start until '27, '28.
With the mold and everything else, I don't think that's an option.
Yeah.
He brought up a great point, right? It's like you basically have a sponge inside a bag, and
Rob.
it's not going to go away. So.
Right.
Rob, I have a question. Does there come a point where we can't use this application on the roof because it's too far depleted?
Yes, so typically when the wet insulation increases past 25%, it's no longer a candidate. Also, if the membrane were to degrade to a point, I mentioned, someone had actually brought up from my report that you've lost 9 mils of thickness already. So there is a threshold. Once, I can actually pull it up real quick. So, So there's a scrim about basically a fabric halfway through your membrane, and once that fabric starts to become exposed, the roof is considered completely failed, and this would no longer be a candidate. So, essentially, you still have enough thickness now, but what happens is once it starts, what actually happens is you have a PVC membrane. So PVC, you typically think of like a rigid plastic pipe. So how they make this into a flexible roof membrane is they add plastic into the PVC. And what happens is as the roof ages, the UV and the sun degrades it and causes these plastics to migrate out of the membrane. And that can make it brittle, but it also makes it lose its thickness and weathers away, exposing that scrim that's in the middle of the membrane. So there is a little bit of a shelf life. Could you make it till 27, that is likely that you could. That's, really only 2 years away from now. Last year when we did the scan, you were about 10% wet insulation, so still a bit below that 25%. But yeah, there's definitely a bit of a closing window on this type of application. So.
Yeah,
I mean,
thank you.
this to me is a no-brainer then. I mean, to talk about we'll call it 2.2 million versus the cheapest of being 3.4 for a full replacement, with basically the same warranty, right? Because that's the other part that gets me, and that's why I asked, is if a roof replacement had a 50 or 100-year replacement and this was only 20, then I could justify us trying to find a way to come up with the extra money. But basically the same warranty.
Right.
I don't see, now, so I don't know how you feel about it, but
Well,
It's
yeah,
the,
well, the
it's
warranty
the same
was,
warranty and actually better performance as well. So this specific type of system has 2,300 psi of tensile strength. The roof that you have there now, PVC, if it were to be replaced in kind, has about 900 psi of tensile strength. So you're actually increasing the puncture resistance, the toughness, the load strain of a roof. So in layman's terms, you're putting a stronger membrane down on top of your existing membrane while retaining the investment that the district has already made in the membrane, in the insulation. You're retaining what you own, preventing that from going to a landfill at a lesser cost.
yeah.
so then I guess really would be, do we do it as a single phase, do we do it in single year or a phased approach? And once again, you're talking about $400,000. And listen, this is up to the voters, right? We need to bring it before the voters.
Yeah, this
but-
will have to go to town meeting, but
I don't see how we don't try and bringing up as a single year approach.
I think that my first thought was we got to get the $300,000 to do the wet insulation. That's a no-brainer. And that's
100%.
on your warrant
Yeah.
coming up. And then when I started talking to Rob a little bit more, I'm like, maybe it doesn't make sense to do that. Maybe it just makes sense to bite the bullet and do the roof at 2.2 million, which will include the wet insulation, which will include what we need, or at least, these are estimates, right? It has to go out to bid. But given the time, given what's going on in the market, we don't know what the tariffs are gonna do. We don't know what any of that's gonna do and play into future things. So that's why I said there's a lot of options here. I just trying to bring them all to the table and what makes the most sense. Luckily, Freetown has funding available that the voters, they could say no, but it's there, and I don't think, you're not gonna not do the roof, right? It's either whether you do it this year or you do it next year, it's coming and it needs to be done.
Well, I think you're right. I think it's a no-brainer that the roof needs to be updated, right? It's a no-brainer that we have to fix insulation so there's zero chance of mold entering our children's lungs, right? I think those are the givens. But when I look at the projects in the FES, right? So we talked about the roof, the doors and windows. So it looks like there's potentially funding available there. But we also have the boiler system that's close to $1 million,
Yes.
right? So we need to fix the boiler system for $1 million. There's only X amount of dollars in our bank accounts, right, on our stabilization, which is exactly for this. It's not for anything else. It's just for this type of work. So I'm all for using the money that the town payers have saved over the years. But we got to do it in the right approach, right? There's only X amount of dollars available, right? So if it's $1 million for a boiler, $2 million for a roof, potentially more $1 million for potential windows and doors, all need to get done, absolutely. How do we do it that we're not increasing any taxes, right? That's the question, right? I think that replacing the insulation is right at the top of the list, right? But now we're looking at $2 million, $3 million with the boiler systems, and then wait a couple of years. Hopefully there's a grant out there that offsets some of the windows and doors. So how do we do that in a responsible manner? That's how I'm taking this as an approach, right? Especially as we go to town meeting, because I'm sure so many audiences, somebody watching at home is thinking this. Well, that's $3 million they just talked about, potentially $4 or $5 million for everything. There's only so much money, right? And I have to make sure it needs to get done. For those listening at home, it needs to get done. But how do we get there, right? So that's how I'm kind of taking that approach.
I guess my question, I'm sorry, I keep asking questions even though I say I'm not gonna, is replacing the wet insulation now, and then can we wait a year and do the single approach after the fact? Meaning just go up there, just replace the bad stuff right now, cover it over, and then next year go up there, do a single layer, get everything, all the fluid application done at once. Can that be done or no?
Yeah, the budgets that I actually proposed were fairly similar to that. So I didn't propose the fluid applied restoration in this year. I honestly don't fit, you really don't have the time to physically do the work, design this system, put it out to public bid, and then do the physical work. We don't have enough time left in the year. But you certainly could replace the wet insulation this year, and I had originally budgeted that at about $300,000. I would say you're going to save about probably 35% of that cost by doing it with the project. So not an astronomical number there if you were to, again, replace it this year. That's... I would say maybe 25 to 35%. So you could be like 85,000 to 100,000 in cost savings to absorb that into a project. But yes, you absolutely can replace the wet insulation this year and then have this bid out and ready to go starting next spring for next year. And that would not impact those budget numbers, too much. Again, maybe to the tune of, again, $80,000 to $100,000, which is not astronomical in the scale and scope of a project of this size. Another point that I did want to mention, it was something that Deborah and I had spoken about, is the difference between a phased approach or a single year approach. To make sure that the budgets are being hit and that it's fiscally responsible. Once you get a designer on board, an architect, and they design this project, you can always bid this project out. Say it's bid out in Q4 of this year. You can always bid that out with an alternate in there, being that one half of the roof is that alternate. So if prices do come in higher than expected, you have the option to kind of kick that can down the road. One half of the roof is a little bit worse than the other. So at least that provides a economical path forward. So there are different options out there as to how exactly you can bid this roof. So there is a little bit of flexibility in that once you get an architect on board and some kind of creative ways that this can be bid.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No. Thank you, Rob.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
So what are you thinking?
I think we bring it to the voters as a single year approach.
I agree. Although small numbers, 80 to 100,000, that's still money that we're just throwing out there in a sense.
Yeah, I guess the only reason why I was thinking that is because I really didn't want, I'm trying to think about what we had on the warrant, right, for the 300,000 already existing, and leaving that and just fixing what needs to be fixed, because at the end of the day, we at least need to do that. Now, that's just a Band-Aid, but at least, you brought it up, and I don't want to make people think that what we're saying mold into the schools, but it could, it's water where it doesn't belong, it's moisture where it doesn't belong, so, the kids are safe, but I just don't want people to think that, but it's.
Well, let's face it, it's out there, right? So it's already been said, so there's already probably people thinking that already, right? So we want to make sure that we're on top of that. We don't want to even put that out there, that this is even a possibility of us even prolonging over money, right? Because it's not worth it. The kids are more important than money. Yeah, I think, but we also got to think about it long term as well, right?
Yeah, and just to clarify, the wet insulation isn't going to cause, mold to be running rampant through the building. It's that wet insulation is trapped between the bottom side of the membrane and the top side of the roof deck. So you still have a roof deck, you have a drop ceiling in there. The roof deck is, a metal roof deck. So although it's, very possible for there to be, some kind of unhealthy air that's able to percolate its way in, it's not in direct contact, with the kids. Again, there's drop ceilings in place. There's isolation. Is it a great thing to do to remove that wet insulation? Yes, absolutely. But again, it's not like the mold and mildew is sitting on their desks in direct contact with the kids. It's kind of trapped within that building system. So just to clarify a little bit, but certainly a good thing to do.
Thank you. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, so I guess we got to bring it to the voters as such. And
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess my question is, I guess the first piece of this, do you want to use this applied system that we're talking about as opposed to this conventional roof system? That would be the first vote, I would say I would like. And then, I should turn this on. So the first vote will be conventional versus this applied stuff. And I don't know if Mr. Higgins has an opinion either way on this. You've been at all the meetings with me.
Sure, it seems like the applied surface makes more sense, and particularly unless you're going to go with the much larger multi-layered roof, it is going to give you what seemingly is a better result than just simply a full replacement with a single layer.
Okay. And then the second piece
Could I
of
ask
that-
another question to him?
yeah, absolutely. Please.
So, Rob, I'm sorry, I think you had mentioned this in a previous meeting, but I just want to clarify. If this application is installed, is this something that can then be done again, or is there only one application allowed?
In theory, you can, at the end of this system's life, you can apply an additional top coat as an additional waterproofing layer to extend the life. It's not necessarily going to, increase the warranty again by 20 years, but you could, get another 5 to 7 years out of it. So there are ways to, extend this and possibly get this over 30. Just like anything, like maintaining a car, part of the, part of the owner's role is to, maintain their roof well over the years. So, annual maintenance, doing inspections, cleaning the drains, cleaning the gutters of leaves, things like that. So there are ways to extend that life, certainly past the warranty period. So the warranty period is about 20 years. This system is designed to last 25, and you could potentially get even more if you're, again, employing, regular inspections, a maintenance plan to make sure that you're staying on top of any sort of deficiencies as they come up, and just being proactive. But to specifically answer your question is, yes, there are recoating applications at the end of life to further extend the system, but you're not essentially going to get another 20-year warranty out of it, but you could extend in that 5 to 10 year range.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm sorry, Dave. So you said you want to just, we'll vote on the applied membrane, but then you're also going to look for which approach we're going to want to
Yeah,
take.
so
a separate
in
vote.
timing, right? Do you, I threw something on the warrant just because, to be prepared, because we have to finalize the warrant tonight. If you want to just do the wet insulation, we can change the number and we can change the warrant, that's all fine. Or do you want to wait till next year, the fall town meeting, to vote the full 2.2 million? And, get that? Or do you want to vote to get an engineer and an architect on board, a designer to put it out to bid, to get a sense of where we're going to go? I don't know. We're not in imminent danger, right? But I think definitely a plan needs to be made to how we're going to move forward, because we don't want to miss the window. The scans that were done and the testing that was done is probably already almost a year old, right? So that was 10%, but that's already a year old. We're talking about another year or two. I don't want to miss the window of opportunity. I don't want to rush, but I don't want to miss the window, and then the town is looking at spending 50% more than what this is. So, like I said, originally I was just thinking of just doing the wet insulation just to make sure we're safe, and then I looked at the numbers and I'm like, I don't know if it makes sense. Does it just make sense to bite the bullet and ask for the full boat and move forward? Or at this town meeting, maybe I proposed $500,000, which would be enough to fix the wet insulation and hire the architect, OPM, what we have to do to guide us along the way, and then be looking for the rest of the money at a future meeting.
Yeah, I think that's my approach, honestly. So, yeah, well, I'm going to call it out for vote, I guess, and then we'll take it as such. And it's all right, so with that, I entertain a motion to go with the applied membrane versus full replacement.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes, you were on top of that. I like that one. And then, so that I will then entertain a motion to ask for at this town meeting the money for architect and wet insulation replacement, and then go for funding down the road for the rest. I know it's kind of an ugly call, but
I understood. Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the help.
Thanks, Rob. I know
Thanks.
that's
Yep, thank you for having me. Happy to help in the future. Please keep me posted, and I can further help along this process. So thank you very much, and looking forward to helping the district out in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item number 3, town planner presentation regarding Gurney Road, Chase Road intersection SS4 grant. Nancy?
Hello,
Hello, how you doing?
I'm well. Well, thank you for having me here tonight.
No problem, thanks for coming. We appreciate it.
We have decisions to make on budgets. Hopefully this will be something that you get good vibes out of, and congratulations also to Cheryl for hard work and dedication. Nicely done. So I have a presentation. It's short, it's imagery only, and I'll give you the commentary of where we're at. So we're basically have put in for a Safe Streets for All, which is a federal grant. It's a demonstration grant proposal. So you're just going to see some not the most prettiest end product out of this, just to give you the like a little skinny before we get to that point. But it is improvements for Gurney Chase and Brayley Road intersection. Now I understand that this intersection has been high risk and critical for some time. It's on the Complete Streets for program that was done that prioritized this as number 1. And also it is on SERPID's safety action plan for the coming years. So we use that as an option within the grant application as well. If you could just move to the next one. Thank you. Appreciate it. So this is just the aerial view of the intersection of Gurney, Chase, and Brayley Roads. And you can't really see it well, but you can see how awkward it is. It's not exactly smooth, it's not straight, there's curves. Those are always confusing for anyone who's motoring through an intersection, and this is no exception. Next slide, please. So we brought you down to the Google Street View, so you can see what you see when you're driving. As you can see, there is this is east-west on Chase Road, and you can see there's an Eversource telephone pole in the middle of the medium strip. that is a big point of contentious for that intersection. Actually, a magnet, so to speak. If you take me to the next slide, this is Gurney Brayley, and this is north-south. And this is actually the unique piece, is that it's mostly folks who are traveling to take a left onto Chase Road and end up somehow in the eastbound lane instead of the westbound lane, which they want to be in. And somewhere in the middle, they then hit the pole. So that's part of the conundrum. And between 2018 and 2024, there were 34 crashes at this intersection, and 21 of them involved the electrical pole.
It's the pug wuggies.
Like I said, the magnet. One would think maybe this is a simple solution, but Eversource doesn't think so. And there have been discussions, not sure if that can be changed at some point, but certainly we are moving forward. And as you know, this intersection looks slightly different because the Highway Department did some uniqueness at this intersection, which actually has been very helpful and has done a good job of taking low-cost measures to create a situation where less people are attracted to this electrical pole. And I think that's done really well. So hats off to the Highway Department for pulling that together. It's really well done. Slide 4. So this brings us to the unattractive part of this is what they consider a demonstration of a change of an intersection. It allows you to do a project without jumping all in, full feet, full cost, and lets you kind of almost like play a little bit with the paint, with less expensive measures to try to retrain behavior of our motorists who are trying to navigate a wonky intersection. And this was actually in Phoenix, Arizona, and they did a demonstration grant. I believe it was through the SS4A program, which is a federal program. And if you take us to the next slide, they actually went ahead and they implemented it, and they actually built the roundabout intersection improvements. And there is one more slide showing this as well that shows you down on the street view. You can see where they're changing the behavior of the motorists and the flow of the traffic by using the different materials to get people through the intersection safely. You're lucky you have the option to have already used that type of a situation around the rotary just up the road on Chase Road and in that intersection. And it works really well. I travel every morning and every ride home at night, and people are they're paying attention to one another, but they're keeping the flow of the movement of the traffic. If successful, we'd be do engineering in the spring. Fall would be more putting that implementation into place. But in between that, there would be engagement opportunities to get input from the residents and the users of the roadway system, so that we'll hear from you before we even put it on the ground, and then again after it is on the ground. And there'll be monitoring throughout this as well to ensure that this demo actually could be something that could be implemented into a full project. So the cost of this is $120,000. And the federal match is 96, and MassDOT's match would be 24. So this would be helpful to fix a problem potentially at a low cost or no cost to the community. So I have to say a huge thanks to the team, because you can't do anything by yourself. The Highway Department, the Police Department. When I asked, they gave me information almost immediately, and I've also, MassDOT was extremely helpful in helping us get to this application, and the Bauer Foundation provided the funding to allow tool design. And this is not like an advertisement of sorts. It's starting to sound like it at $99.99. But they did a great job in helping us get this grant together. I really appreciated the support. They actually had an engineer at Tool Design that took a look at the intersection and really showed me what Phoenix, Arizona had done, that this could be implemented based on the size of the intersection, because it gets fairly wide, so there is room to put that in there. So, and that is the end of the presentation.
Thank you.
So thank you
Very well
so
done.
much for having me here. I appreciate it. And I thank you again for giving me this position. I'm excited to be here and working with everybody. I can't say it enough.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
My only
So-
question is obviously that roundabout type thing would be there, but we would then have to find a way to move that pole,
Correct.
right? So, I mean, regardless, we still need to find a way to get them to remove that pole. Or move it, I shouldn't say remove. move.
That is the.
Because that seems to be the biggest problem with the intersection, is literally if we could get them to move it, then it'll probably be something else that would happen, but.
It seems to me it wouldn't, like, they usually like to place poles 150 feet apart from each other. There's plenty of room to go further down Chase, across Brayley, and go down 2 poles, and then cut back across to get onto the other side of Chase Road. That seems very doable. I do know that the actual service that's on the pole, they claim is very, complicated, and moving is very difficult. I understand, but I do believe that there is.
There's something about public
options.
safety.
Exactly.
Right, so, that's all, it's a whole different discussion, and it's not a problem for you, you're not here for that. It's
No,
just me
but
speaking out
generally
loud.
speaking, I believe if the program was to stay in place at the federal level, once they give you the opportunity to do a demonstration grant, they generally come back with the funding to help with the implementation. That's generally how I have experienced it in other grant opportunities. It's almost like they've made the commitment, they're going to come back and help you with the next part. Help. I don't know what that would look like, but
Yeah.
I'm prefacing it with it. I don't know how much funding it would be, but certainly that's been my experience in the past. But
Yeah.
Good question.
The implementation budget, 3 million? Was that
Yes.
3.5 million if we were to do the roundabout there? So just, so you get a sense of why this is the route Nancy and I worked on, because we don't have $3.5 million.
No, no.
So it needs to be grant funded.
Yeah,
And you are on the list in that safety action plan, which helps get you, even state funding through MassDOT as well for
Right.
these types of things, because they want to see these safety programs as well at the state level as well as the federal level.
Now, will this ultimately be under or be categorized as a Mass DOT project?
That's a very good question.
My concern is we already have the Chase Street Bridge that
Right.
is on the books to get
Right.
done, right? Not to mention it's a roundabout less than a mile down the road. So not that we can't figure it out as Freetonians, but, we'll probably get some pushback on that, which is okay. We'll answer some questions. But at the end of the day, if it's under Mass DOT, would they, I don't know, we've been waiting for the Chase Street Bridge for some years now. So I'm just wondering if we go down this SS4 grant, which is a good idea to offset the cost of this, right? Because that's too many accidents that we have had over the years, right? It's only going to increase, or from what we've done now, decrease it a little bit until people get complacent with that and the same pattern begins, right? I'm just afraid by putting it on the Mass DOT, we're going to wait years for it to be
So that's
approved.
a transportation improvement program that the bridge is on. That's the tip.
Okay.
That is different, and there is a huge process that goes
is.
along with that. Attending the JTPG meetings at Serpent regularly, and then making sure that it stays in their eyesights.
Yeah.
MassDOT did assist with this. They were a partnership in applying for the grant, but we would not be under the same constraints as the TIP program.
Perfect. That's great news.
Yeah, yes. It is a complicated program, the TIP program, and I'm not sure how the matrix always works. I don't know what kind of math has always been
Yeah.
done, so, yeah, but you're still on, I believe you're still on.
We are. And, like, I check it every so
That
often on
project as
the.
well.
You can go on Mass DOT and kind of look at their live stream or the updated list. We're on there for both bridges across town. It's just there's no time frame as to when they begin. Every time I drive by it on 140, I go, any construction vehicles pulling up and setting up? Because usually that's how we find out things. Is pretty much last minute. So.
Well, the South Main Street Bridge is federal funded, and that is, they are different, and that they're federal funded, but you have to come through Mass DOT to actually utilize the funding. But Mass DOT matches some of your funding, so it's good and it's bad, right? But we are in control of that project. We just put out the RFQ to get an engineer on board. So I don't think it'll be like a TIP project. I think that we're gonna control more of that time frame and how that all works, because we have to spend our federal money by a certain date as well, so, because it's grant funding. So I do think these will run a little bit different than a tip. A tip can be 5 to 10 years. I was working on one in Hanson when I got there, and it was still in progress when I left 4 years later, and it wasn't completed, and I still don't think it's completed to date. It's a big undertaking, and we've even had this discussion about doing it in the town of Freetown, but it takes a lot of continuity, a lot of consistency, and a lot of dedication, and, you know, it's huge. And the town has to front all the money for the engineering, which probably, like, if we were to do South Main Street, which is where I think the focus would be, you know, you're talking about probably $2.5 million just to engineer a tip program. So the town has to make a large commitment to do a project like that, and they do take a long time.
Just money, right?
That's just the engiering. The projects
Yeah.
are like
Crazy.
$15
I know.
million worth of work.
I want to go back to voting on accepting a $50 donation. And yeah, no, I mean, listen, at the end of the day,
Thank you for that.
stuff needs to be done, so thank you.
Thank you, yeah,
Thank you,
thank you
Nancy.
for having me. Thank you, I appreciate it.
No
Yeah.
problem, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Likewise. Good night.
All right. Agenda item number 4, discussion and vote whether to approve the open session minutes from 6/2/25, 6/9/25, and 6/16/25. Looked them over, everything seemed good. Any questions or concerns?
Nope, it's another meeting.
All right. So with that, I entertain a motion to approve the open session minutes from 6/2/25, 6/9/25, and 6/16/25.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item number 5, discussion and vote whether to call a special town meeting on Monday, July 28th, 25, at Aponequid Regional High School Auditorium, beginning at 6 PM. Yeah, it's, you know,
It's on my calendar.
it's, yeah, mine too. So, you know, this is obvious that we need to do this in order to, and I believe we'll actually go over the articles that we're proposing, but, you know, there's some stuff that we really want to get before the town. Need to get before the town, so we have to have the special town meeting in order to do it, so, since we do have the town clerk with us, do you have any questions or concerns in regards to this?
Just a question on the time.
Okay.
6 PM, I know that's a little bit out of the norm, but just thinking about voter registration, getting them checked in, all that good stuff. Because that's like right after supper, people coming home, driving home.
What time do we normally do?
7.
7, yeah. All right.
That would be my only question.
Yeah, I was trying to
But
think,
whatever the
drew
board
a blank.
decides, there's no bylaw on that. It's just for annual that starts at 7:30, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with moving it to 7 if everyone thinks that that's,
Or even 6:30, I'm just trying to think of folks coming home at summertime.
yeah, no, it's a valid
Coming home
call.
at 5:30, maybe having something to eat, and then,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, do you guys have, Debbie, do you have a problem with that, changing the colors? Sure.
Yeah, whatever gets more people, more people in those seats. So. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Debbie, you have any issues with that?
Changing the time? No.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to make sure before I called it out to do that and then found out there was something else I was missing, so, all right. All right, so, but beyond that, you know, we need to do this, and it's kind of a no-brainer, obviously, right? So, with that, I entertain a motion to call a special town meeting on Monday, July 28, 2025, at Aponequid Regional High School Auditorium, beginning at 7 PM.
So moved.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes,
We're going 7, not 6:30, correct?
correct.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Just that way it stays consistent with what we normally do, right? Because that's what we said we normally do, is 7. So
Okay.
if we're going to do that, then we might as well keep consistent, so. Agenda item number 6, discussion and vote whether to open, approve, add, delete articles, finalize, and/or close the special town meeting warrant for Monday, July 28th, 2025. So I'm just gonna get to it. So,
So this meeting is basically just to put back in front of the voters the purchase of the land.
yeah,
I was expecting to get the appraisal today, but I don't, they had told me I should have it by 6 o'clock. I don't see it in my email. I don't see it, so I don't have it as of right now.
there we go.
Obviously, it was defeated, so I wanted to be able to bring more information to the table. I don't have that. Like I said, I was expecting to have it today, and I don't have it. For the appraisal of the land. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I can bring forth without funding for engineering and the like. We've done preliminary engineering, as you know, to just show the taxpayers the value in this land. The value has a lot to do with the location and it being centrally located. But it is a large parcel and there is not much wetlands on it. So this town meeting is just basically asking for to purchase the land.
Yeah, I was just gonna call it out. That's why I was trying to find to it, but, and so it's really only the three articles. One, funding of the purchase of the land. Two, funding for engineering, fund the engineering for the land purchase. And then three, fund for the cost of the repair to the roof leaks at Freetown Elementary School, which we had just talked about and voted to keep it as such at the $500,000. So it's really gonna be a hyper-focused meeting on the things that we really want to do. And Debbie, to your point, I think that I take some of the blame for not giving the voters all the information when I was up there, as far as like what the true value of that land is, and some of it we didn't have, right? Like, we didn't have their appraisal. We'll have their, hopefully, we're being told we'll have their appraisal. They've told us they'll give us the appraisal, so, it's what we've been asked for a lot.
Right.
And,
Well, I guess in that appraisal, in the explanation of article, can we add what the purpose of the land can be used for, right? What the intent is, right? It's in there. It's lightly in there. Includes new town buildings. I think we can expand on that as far as what the use is going to be for. I think from the last meeting, the concern was there was only 8 to 10 acres of land available out of the 32, right? I'm thinking that's going to get looked at, or it's going to be, when we get the appraisal, it'll be in there, right? If it's 30 acres of land that's usable that we can use, or is it 20 acres of land?
that won't be in the appraisal.
It won't be in the appraisal, but I know you said there's more uplands than there's wetlands.
Yeah, there's other stuff that's into all of that equation. And I don't know that the percentage, do you think we'll be able to have that ironed out yet before this meeting? As far as what we'll be able to deem as usable?
I don't think so. I
and
think
don't
that's a
so
whole
either.
big, long process
There's,
that we won't have. I know that the purpose is that we want to build a new building, right? A COA/library building and possibly town hall building. I know that we have presented that with enough parking for I want to say a 20,000 square foot building. And that's not going to be an issue for sure. But
Yeah.
obviously with a 32 acre parcel, there's other things that we may want to do, whether it's 20 years from now, so you want to know what you can utilize it. And I don't have the guarantee on that as of right now. That's the stuff we're working towards.
Yeah, because I'd love to go to a town and say, hey, we're also going to use this to have access to the state forest, be able to put more fields, maybe something like basketball, pickleball with lights, things like that. Things that the residents can use, because based on all the surveys, they want more outdoor usage, more outdoor space. And being centrally located, you'll get more people, right? So I want to be able to present that to them.
yeah, and I think, that was kind of the vagueness of my response the last time, was because we've had talks with the the different groups and, you know, the restrictions that could possibly happen, not knowing. You never want to get up there and misspeak. You don't want to get up there and tell something that's not truthful. So I was erring on the side of caution when I stood up there in front of everyone. So I just reassured myself with Debbie's comment, right, that I don't think we'll have an answer by then. But, you know, this, as you well know, this is really our one crack at the apple that we seem to have over in this area so far that we could find. So, you know, it's something I think that was really, there's a lot at stake with the library COA stuff, and hopefully some future growth in the land, in the area, being centrally located, and the funding that we do have for the COA and library. Right. So,
Just this minute got the appraisal. And so it's lengthy, but it does say, and this is what the purchase and sales was based on, that the value, their estimate of the value was $2,460,000, which is where the purchase and sales price came from. From day one, they had told me that the price was going to be the price, and there was no negotiating the price. But this is the appraisal that it's based on, and so I do now have that.
so we have the appraisal that matches, so. You know,
Yeah, because my thought process is if we don't bring anything else to the table, does it make sense to have another meeting if we're not going to be able to give them more information than they had the first go around? Because I don't want to waste anybody's time.
Right. Well, right, and at the end of the day, this project has come up because of residents, right, from all sides. They want things like voting out of the schools. They want a place to be able to do activities, right? We built an addition to the COA, and the numbers have increased. Participation has been steady, right? So that, we built it and they came, right? So that tells us this is a perfect project for our town, right? When first getting into elections or being selectman here in town, the number one thing that almost every resident that wanted to talk to me, and there was a lot, and we're talking about, for 30, 40 years, they've been talking about a COA that they can expand and use it for things. A library, they use the restroom in without issues. So I'm passionate about this, and I know I'm the chairman of this committee, but at the same time, that's because I want to make sure we see it through. This is what the residents want. Let's give it to them, right? And the way to do it is to give them all the facts and let them decide at town meeting. All right? So July 28th, be there, everybody.
I think there are still some open-ended questions, right, that's going to take some engineering and some time, but you, as a Board of Selectmen, have the right, under the purchase and sales, to not purchase this land through the end of December, so we're going to have to consistently try to get more information. I still think at the end of the day, you'll definitely be able to build a new building, a sizable building, at that location with plenty of parking, and I think that central location is extremely important to the residents, to try to have everything in this one big campus, and there is really no more area in the existing campus without knocking down another building. And while the COA may not be conducive for a COA, it's not a condemned building. It'll be useful for other things, possibly moving the people from the annex into that building and not paying rent somewhere else. So,
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I agree.
There's, you know, I guess I'm trying to be careful with my words, but at the same time, there's a lot of questions that still need to, not a lot, there's still questions that need to be answered, but at the end of the day, this to me is a no-brainer for the growth of our town, right? And that's something that we're really supposed to focus on as a board, is guiding the growth of this town in the right direction. And to me, this is that, right? I guess I just don't know how else to say it. I mean, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here, but, you know, I think that everything here looks good to me, and I'm happy with the way that this all looks and is laid out. If you want to add to the explanation,
I'll work on those.
we can work on that, but beyond that, I'm okay with it, so.
No, I agree with you on that. It's all the statements, right? This is, it's sometimes tough having all the information from all the different committees and boards, and you kind of have to sum it all up to kind of give it to people. But at the end of the day, you're absolutely correct. We are in charge of the town's growth, right? Short-term and long-term. And this is something that long-term and short-term, and not to even mention years past, the town has asked for, right? Consistently asked for, and based on surveys and everything else. This is a perfect way forward. And we'll keep taking bites at the apple until, we get more information. And keep providing the information as we get it, we push it out there. That's our job is, right? All of it, the good, bad, and the ugly.
Absolutely.
And let the residents know and let them decide. So.
Absolutely. All right, so, with that, I'm gonna entertain a motion, I guess I'm gonna have to just, am I okay with still closing it even though we're gonna change the descriptions?
Yeah, did you open it?
I didn't, I just did the vote I'd said discussion, but I read it as is. So I didn't do any separate motions away from this motion, the agenda item rather.
I would open it, and then, as the first motion, and then I would move to approve the articles and finalize it, approve it and close them. The explanations are really just that, they're really,
Okay.
the article language already has gone to town council and been approved, right? So we will be changing the actual articles. If you want me to quickly draft something for the explanation.
Yeah, I don't want you to do it right off the top of your head right now. That's foolish. We can go over it at another point, but for now, I'd rather just, so.
What do you want more in the explanation, though?
Everything in the kitchen sink. As much as, if it has to be a full page, so be it. We need to give as much information to the residents as possible so that for those that are reading this, they'll have a good explanation as to why we need this land and what the purpose is of this land and for the money we're paying for. So I look at it like this: being at the town meeting, then watching the video days later, right? I got two different takes on town meeting, right? The things that were said at town meeting, I didn't catch everything sitting in the front seat, right? So, but going back and hearing it, there were some good points made, some that weren't, some points that were just thrown out there that didn't really make much sense, but they were out there nonetheless. So going into this meeting, I want to make sure that there isn't any guesswork, right, as to why this land is needed and what the purpose of this land is for. So in the explanation, I want to make sure that we put all potential usage of this land, what the purpose is of it. Like right now, it's a conservation library, but as we expand, right, what does that look like down the road? What can this land be used for? How many acres can be used?
I know that we can build one new building. I don't know after that, right? So I think the explanation, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, because I'll propose the language change so that you can vote on it, but a 32-acre parcel of land located across from the elementary school on Bullock Road. This land will be used for future needs of the town, including new buildings. I don't know that we can be more specific because everything that we do is gonna have to come before the town residents and be voted on. So we can want to build a new building all day long and people can vote it down. So I want to say what we can do, but I don't know how to say it any more than that. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say on and usually, I can, but I'm thinking this one's
I think
pretty
it's
good.
more of just, maybe it's not as much, we shouldn't hyper-focus on explanation of the article as far as us educating the public in other means ahead of this, away from what we put in here. Because I always worry about wording and then people saying, well, you said this.
Right.
Sure.
Right? And it was right there, it was in black and white, and it was done with all the right intentions, but then it
Well,
comes
that's what I'm
back to
saying,
bite us, so.
We want to build a new building, but that's a whole nother process that requires a whole bunch of other votes from residents and a bunch
Absolutely.
of money. And I don't want to promise things that aren't necessarily we don't know, right? But it can be used for a new building, we do know that. The but the town needs to vote that. It may not, may not want to use it for that. I can't imagine them not, but.
Well, as a resident, I'd want to know what can we use 32 acres for, right? Can I, down the road, can it be fields built? Can it be access to the park? Can it be a gazebo or something like that people can, get off their bike and go back to the state forest? Can there be a track? Can there be a walking path? There's a million things we can put in there. But is the 32 acres able to be
I
used?
don't know that information.
Yeah.
That's the problem right now.
That's where we're going to run into. People are going to ask those questions. We need to have some type of answer for it. So if we have to keep taking bites at the apple, and that's the tough part, right? That's kind of how it got voted down last time. So we're going into this a month and a half later. It's more information, but is it all the information we have, or we have to do it again in October?
Well, I think that one of the issues is trying to determine the location of the new building, because we need to move forward with that process as well, right? The Seaway Library Building, they need to know where they're going to potentially go so that they can start designing their building. So sort of like, yes, it may seem like we're putting the cart before the horse here, but there's another horse, right, that we need
Yes,
to
there
worry
is.
about. That's why I'm kind of asking you guys, I don't have more information than that appraisal, which I just got.
So I think that the biggest, we really heard one complaint while we were there. I don't say complaint. Complaints is a strong
Right.
word, wrong thing. We heard one question that was loud and clear was the value of the land, right? We now have the value of the
Right.
land.
Which is great.
We have a great reason for the land. Whether we're only able to use 5 acres or 30 acres, we'll have enough land, we can guarantee ourselves we'll have enough land that we'll be able to put this building there. So at the end of the day, we have this one little thing, this one huge thing that we're gonna be able to put there. If we end up with more usable land outside of that, then we can deem that we're gonna put whatever there down the road, mobile fields, town hall, walking paths, gazebos, whatever you wanna call it, there. So, we'll have it in a prime location.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, which will be the goal, right? It's beautiful back there.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's the goal, right? That's the goal. It's just
Beautiful
I
piece of
want
property.
9,200 other residents to think that as well. That's the goal, right? That's the purpose of it. And I want them to know that's our goal as well, right? So whatever the explanation is, it has to reflect that goal, right? So I know we can't say certain things, and we don't want to be dishonest because we want to be fully transparent. But we can also project, this is our goal, this is what we want to do with this property. So that in 10 years from now, when residents go, can we use that land for something? Well, yes, it's ours now. We can use it for whatever we need based on these factors. So I just want that option to live on within all our residents, right? We're not just buying this for a single building. We are right now, but down the road,
Yeah, but
it can be
I guess
expanded.
because we don't want our residents to think, oh, well, we are going to build this or we are going to do this. I think that us saying that future, just summarizing it as future growth makes sense, right? That we're thinking about this not just as a COA library and purchasing a several million-dollar piece of land for one building. We're looking at it for growth away from beyond that.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, 100%. That's why this conversation, it's talk about spending significant amount of money. We want to make sure we do it right? And we are. And I believe, my heart's of hearts, I know we are. But we have to make sure everyone knows that. So,
yeah.
right.
So are you okay with then leaving this alone, or what do you think? 'Cause, I mean,
well, we can beef up the explanation, but not, but, we have more information now to provide. We can provide more information as needed, as you see
I'll
fit,
probably
but.
try to do a PowerPoint or something like that. I don't know how much information. I have to check with Cheryl and Mike and put up what we have. I know one of the things people find it hard to believe we have no more land on the 93-acre piece that we have, right? So I always try to put that existing conditions plan showing there's no usable space there, showing as much information. I have the wetland delineation on this land. I can put that out that I have. I can put the appraisal out, I just gotta get permission to do that, but,
Yeah.
so we can put that together, either in a handout or in some form to let people look at that information that we do have.
Perfect.
I mean, part of it is we need engineering money to do more.
Thank you. The one last thing, so I had two things. One, I was gonna ask Cheryl if there was any issues with any of the stuff that we're saying, and then two is, really, we need money in order, well, first of all, we need a piece of land in order to be able to put the building there.
Right.
That
Step one.
we've got. But then beyond that, we need more money in order to do engineering, really, to take it further, right?
Right.
We were able to have some money in order to get some engineering done, but we're kind of in a strange spot now, right? Where we're like, well, we want to do more, but we can't.
Right.
Because unfortunately, the engineers need to be paid, and
Oh, no, we gotta own it first before we can put anything on it, so.
exactly,
step
and we don't
one.
want to waste our money on
Right.
something, so. Cheryl, I'm sorry to call you in on this, but do you have any questions or concerns on it, with like what we said, that?
So I don't really have questions or concerns. I would just like to point out, A, putting a further explanation is not going to guarantee that people are actually going to read it.
Right.
Because a lot of times it's the night of the town meeting, they're now just opening the warrant for the very first time. So me, I'm an advocate of trying to get the information out there as soon as possible.
Yeah,
In
I
whichever
agree.
form or fashion. Now, you have 3 full weeks from today as to when that information's gonna go out. We could always supplement with the PowerPoint, could always supplement with a handout, but my suggestion would be a quick 45-second PowerPoint with video or speaking behind it saying, this is going to be coming off the warrant, these are the types of things we want to do, because folks are going to have 1 minute to play a video and listen. I think it's too close in time to have, a public information session to actually get people here during the summer to come and attend a meeting. But I think if you can do something like that to get the message out, especially because you're in a crunch time, would be my only suggestion.
I agree.
Because the more information that you have out there earlier, the better. Then you can start, if you've missed something or people have extra questions, they come prepared the night of, or they can call ahead of time if it was something that they're not quite clear on. That would just be my only suggestion. Waiting till the night of, I think sometimes is not beneficial, and it's not gonna possibly get you the outcome that you're looking for, or have a complete understanding from the community.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, the goal is to get it out there. It's gonna start getting out there
Well, I
soon.
mean, in today's society, we're all guilty of it, right? We all want everything
They
at
don't
our
read.
fingertips.
No one reads.
Yeah, everyone reads the title and assumes the rest, right? So, I guess that's kind of my point is that would be an easier way, but I can also appreciate what Selectman Lopes is saying, so.
Passionate about the project.
Exactly, yeah, no, I mean, that's something we as a board have all been very passionate about this project, and moving forward is kind of obvious just based on the way it was sitting here deliberating so much on it.
So many times, too, we try to advertise that the town meetings are coming up, and how many people will call and say, how come I wasn't informed, and why didn't I know this was happening? So, trying to be transparent, if you can get something in their face real quick, would be my only suggestion.
Absolutely, it's a good one, so. All right, so, I'm going to entertain a motion to open the articles for a special town meeting for 7/28/2025.
Motion made.
I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. So if we're okay with leaving this alone, can I just do it as one motion to open and finalize?
I would say to approve the articles and
Yeah.
close the warrant.
Yeah, all right. So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the articles and close the warrant for a special town meeting on 7/28/2025.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. It's weird when we do that roll call and have only 2 people call back. It's,
I wrote it down, so I had the right names. I'm like, there we go.
all right, agenda item number 7, discussion and vote whether to hire a consultant for the treasurer tax collector department.
Yeah, so this is something that I'm working with Patty, the treasurer, on, that Lynette retired.
Congratulations, Lynette.
Yeah, I know, very excited for her, very jealous. But, so that And it's funny because it happened rather quickly, we didn't have a lot of notice, and then we had this intern coming in at the same time in that department that's trained by the state. So there's a lot of moving parts in that department right now. But I think that I don't want to just hire somebody necessarily for that department. I think that there's been some bottlenecks in that department and some things that I think that can be automated. It's lacking in automation, like many of the things in the town are. And I think now with all of the turmoil in the department, and I mean, Patty's doing fine, she's taking care of the department. I think that's the time to bring in an outside consultant to look at the department, to determine what makes sense for us and where we can automate and how we go about that. And unfortunately, when you're in the thick of doing the work, it's not always easy to implement new automation systems because you're so busy just trying to keep up with the work. And so that's, I think, where they're at. And I've been recommended this consultant by multiple people. I have a meeting with him, and I can't remember when, next week or the following week, but I wanted to run it by the board in terms of, I don't have costs yet, I don't have parameters, I'll be working on that, but I just wanted to make sure that you were okay with me moving in this direction for this department. And Patty's on board with it. So I think I think internally we're on board with it, but I wanted to ask the Board of Selectmen for their permission to move forward in this direction, and I'll be back when I know more information.
I couldn't agree more, right? Sometimes having an outside set of eyes for all of us, right? Not just that department, it could be right up through us and Cheryl, because she's sitting in front of us, so I'm gonna call her out, right? Where we'll all benefit from, another set of eyes, a fresh set of eyes looking at it that might actually increase the efficiency across multiple jobs. So, yeah, and to your point, now's the time to do it because, we're gonna have new people in there, we'll have new blood, so to speak, and then if we're hiring someone in and new processes and policies and procedures are put in place ahead of them coming in, they know no different. If you start training someone, the analogy is tough to teach an old dog new tricks, so let's get the stuff in place before we have someone new come in. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea and a great call out.
Yeah, 100%. This is consistent. What we've done over the past few years is updating each department, from whether it's digitalization of our records to permitting to now going through the departments and seeing where we can find and save time in the processes we have, right? We don't know what we don't know, right, is at the end of the day. And you're correct. Right now, we've had a lot of changes in Town Hall, right? Not just windows and AC for the first time ever, right? Or handicap doors and bathrooms that work, but also departments, right? Our rules and policies have been updated across the board. And this is just along the line of that same exact process, finding efficiencies and making sure that we're running as lean as possible, but doing everything for the residents as much as we can, right? Taking the person out, but at the same time, the person's still there. We're not getting rid of anybody. It was just making sure their job is more efficient. They're not worried about those little nuances in the background. Those will be flushed out in the beginning and make sure that we're doing it right the first time. We don't want repeat customers at Town Hall, right? This is, especially at this department, right? No one wants to pay their taxes twice, right? If there's a way to save some time and efficiencies in that, 100%. So let's kick off this year, this new fiscal year, the correct way, and continue what we've been doing and improving the lives of our residents, one policy at a time.
As well as our employees.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I'm going to entertain a motion to hire a consultant for the Treasurer Tax Collector Department.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item number 8, discussion and vote whether to approve the lease agreement between the Town of Freetown and 69 Main Street LLC for the Town Hall Annex, effective 7/1/25 through 6/30/28. So recently the town gave us funding in order to continue on this agreement for the Town Hall Annex up the road. Looked through the lease agreement and everything seems good. I don't have any issues with it
Likewise, I went through it, and for $1,500 a month, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, nope. And everyone seems to be happy with it, right? It seems to be flowing well. Those departments seem to be working well over there. It's definitely helped with the parking situation.
Definitely help with parking.
It's amazing how much easier it is to find parking these days at Town Hall. Is it perfect? No. Is it a million times better? Yes. So,
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And it gave us the ability to do the things we've done at Town Hall recently. For those that haven't come to Town Hall, yes, we have new windows that are as periodic to the original inception of that Town Hall as much as possible based on the factors. You know, we've HVAC systems, the new hallways, the paint, the switching of the departments, utilizing every square inch of that building to its max capacity. And without that annex, we wouldn't have been able to do that.
so yeah. So, but beyond that, everything looks good. So very well said, obviously. So with that, I entertain a motion to approve the lease agreement between the town of Freetown and 69 Main Street LLC for the Town Hall Annex effective 7/1/25 through 6/30/28.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item 9, discussion and vote on awarding the quote for the HVAC preventive maintenance for the police department. So, there is an extremely complicated HVAC system within this building, and it takes,
Yep.
specialty people to deal with it. So, part of it is obviously, keeping up with the system, right? And preventative maintenance is huge because there's a lot of money that's spent into the system already, unfortunately, with as new as it is. So we put it out to bid. We got one quote back from Air Masters. It looks like it is $11,300 a year over 2 payments, divided out between 2 payments. So, it's
Yep.
really a no-brainer beyond that, so.
It really is. It really is a no-brainer. You're absolutely correct. As far as old as this building is, the amount of money and resources we put into it to kind of fix some of the things that kind of been, we can blame COVID, we can blame whatever we can blame, right? It's unlimited, right? But then the day moving forward, we have to make sure this building is up and running effectively, efficiently at the top of that, right? And the HVAC systems, you're absolutely correct. It's a beast of a system. Mm-hmm. And I'm not an HVAC specialist, right? All I see is the bills at the end of the month, right? So having someone there staying ahead of it is what should have been done day one.
Yep. All right. So with that, I entertain a motion to award I just lost myself. Awarding the quote for HVAC preventative maintenance for at the police department to Air Masters.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item number 10, discussion and vote on approving the agreement between the town of Freetown and Air Masters, a division of the Rise Group, Inc., for HVAC preventive maintenance for the police department effective 7/1/25 through 6/30/26.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item number 11, discussion and vote to delegate the parking ticket appeals process to the Plymouth County Parking.
So Lynette used to do the appeals in the town hall, and she, and obviously she retired, so we had to look into what we were gonna do about it. And Plymouth County offered to take it from us without any additional fees, at least at this time. And so I thought that sounded like a great idea. Because otherwise we have to pay someone within the town hall to do the appeals process. So they do it for other towns, and they're willing to do it for the town of Freetown.
So there's no cost to us for them to do it?
No.
Good. I looked and looked and looked and looked. I was like, where's the cost of this?
They said if we're super busy, then they may come back to us next year. He said no cost through June of '26. If we're sending a ton of appeals over there, I'm sure then, and we're using their resources, they may come back to us and say, look, we got to charge
Do
a
not
certain amount.
generate a lot of parking tickets.
No, we
So-
don't, and we don't have a lot of appeals, so I'm not really worried about that, but I think this is great for us to outsource it.
And there's no contract? Like, so it just has it as a delegation, right? We're just passing it off, but we could take it, theoretically, we could just take it back. If all of a sudden they start saying, yeah, well, you know what, as of May 1st, we're gonna start charging you 50% of everything that, parking ticket, and we say, well, that's foolish, or $50 rather for every parking ticket. We would say that's foolish. Is there a way for us to just take it back from
Yeah,
them?
I think
Okay.
this is just this is a sort of a voluntary thing for us.
Here's a silly question. Do they only do parking? Could do other tickets as well? Is there like a way to do, let's say, animal control citation?
Oh, I don't
something like that?
know, I don't know,
You know what I
I
mean?
think they just do parking, I don't really know.
It's just parking, and it's usually not appeals, because you have to have a municipal hearings officer for that.
Yeah.
I didn't ask her, this is something I think Lynette actually put together before she left, thankfully.
I would just question why there's not something in Bristol County.
That's right, it's
Our
Plymouth County.
parking tickets are handled by Plymouth County for some
We even
strange reason.
pay.
It's been that way, yeah.
Yeah.
That is strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, to that point is right, we're talking about efficiencies within town hall, and if this helps take something off of someone's plate, and, it's kind of a no-brainer to me,
Yeah.
so. All right, so with that, I entertain a motion to delegate the parking ticket appeals process to the Plymouth County Parking.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
They do say that there will have to be a parking clerk designated within the town hall, just in case they need to have an issue, so she suggests it should be me, so I'll probably put that on the next agenda. Then I'll be their point of contact. I will look into Plymouth, Bristol, but all our tickets go to Plymouth.
Is that going to include payments too? Because I think the motion was just for appeals.
The payments already go in with the
Take the payments,
tickets.
yeah. We don't take money. They take it.
All right, agenda item number 12,
Skip
discussion.
that one.
What's that?
We can skip over that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought you said we just did that one, and I'm like,
Oh, no,
did
no,
I
we
miss
skip
it? I'm sorry, thank you. All right, we're gonna pass on agenda item number 12. Agenda item number 13, discussion and vote whether to accept the land donation of 20-acre lot known as map 207 lot 38, which is adjacent to the existing Conservation Commission land lot 35 on Forge Road.
And this one is actually, you're just approving, the conservation, I think, already took this, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
So they've already taken that, and they have the right to do that, so it's just the selectmen just need to approve it, the donation.
I was gonna say, I thought that was in one of the emails, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
All right, so, obviously, it's no-brainer. It's an interesting piece of land. It's right on the side of the railroad tracks there, but they were able to get it, so I'm all about having more conservation land if possible, especially when it's free. So, any questions or concerns?
I like free as well.
Yeah. So, with that, I entertain a motion to approve the land donation of a 20-acre lot known as map 207 lot 38, which is adjacent to the existing Conservation Commission land lot 35 on Forge Road.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item number 14, discussion and vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Philip Pine for the single lump sum holiday payout for 7/1/25 through 12/31/25.
This is just an option they have within their union contract to be able to do this.
Okay, yeah, you know what's funny is I didn't know that they did, and that's why because this is the first time that I've had this come before me that I remember.
This is only
so-
the second one, this is new, I think, it was a new provision. maybe in the last contract, though.
Yeah, I guess I didn't remember it, and I was trying to look for something, and I just didn't remember it being in there. Shame on me for not remembering that, I guess. But, only kidding, but, you know. So, all right, yeah, so, any questions or concerns?
No.
No, okay. So, with that, I entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and Philip Pine for a single lump sum holiday payout for 7/1/25 through 12/31/25.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item 15, discussion and vote whether to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and K5 Corporation for FY '26 road striping. So, let me just get to it.
You know, it's got a question on this one. You know, thinking about 250 years next year for the United States of America. You know, I was looking at road striping, and someone kind of brought it up to me regarding road striping like we do down in Bristol for the parade route. Red, white, blue. Down Main Street. Throwing it out there.
You certainly can talk to Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be something that we would have to talk to Chuck
Yeah.
about, right? So, I mean, it's not a bad idea, and then it's just determining where we do it, because then if we always have an issue where we have people who say, well, you're just doing stuff on a Sonnet side, you know? So then what do we do over here? Well, then the problem is do we do Chase Road? If we do Chase Road, they're going to, at some point, God only knows when, start the construction of 140 overpass. So then, what do we do over there?
Right. Oh,
So
no,
I like the idea. I'm all about being patriotic, and you know.
It got brought up, and I was like, you know what?
it's
The easiest thing to do, I can bring it up for discussion, knowing, and I had the same exact comments when it came up, and I was like, you know, I love it. I think it's gorgeous. I think it'll look beautiful. The question is going to be, like with the old adage is, if I want to build sidewalks in a Sonnet, East Freetown doesn't really love that idea, and vice versa. If I want to go put sidewalk in East Freetown, a Sonnet wouldn't like that idea either. So it's always a balance between the same town, but opposite ends of each town, right? So I agree, but definitely worth the discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we would have to, talk with Chuck doing something separately away from this, because this obviously wouldn't be included in this. That would be above and beyond. But I mean, listen, I'm all about it. I mean, I think it's amazing how many people comment about having like the flags out, on the telephone poles and things like that. People notice that stuff. So, yeah, so something like that. And then it's Chuck, and then it's the police department, right? Because who knows, there's something to do with that, Mass DOT, because then, that's other things to answer. But yeah, no, I think it's something, a later conversation, but a good call out nonetheless.
Yeah.
So, but beyond that, I mean, I've looked this over, right, and I don't see anything.
No, it looks good.
So, yeah. All right, so with that, I entertain a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Freetown and K5 Corporation for FY '26 road striping.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. Agenda item 16, discussion and vote whether to approve and sign the 2025 dog warrant as presented by the town clerk, authorizing the animal control officer to proceed with seeking out all dogs not duly licensed in the town of Freetown for year 2025 in accordance with MGL Chapter 40, Section 153, and Freetown Bylaws, Chapter 103-2, Section 2. So good news is, as soon as we get it, I always look it over and make sure that none of our names are on it as being loyal dog owners, and none of us made the naughty list. So yeah, there's that. But beyond that, it's it's a pretty comprehensive list of people, right? So, but
You've seen all the reminders that were attached as supplements to that. So I don't know if there's anything else much more that we can do to encourage and to urge.
Right.
I'd be lying if I said that I mean, I don't even want to say it. I don't want to say it, but yeah, we get, just I think if we see people on here or whatever, reach out to them, tell them, do what we can. I mean, so really, Yeah, beyond that, I don't really have much else. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on late fee number 2, or the animal control officer's fee. That was effective July 1st. And then from that in September, mid-September, we go to citations.
yeah, no, I mean, we can, it's what we talked about several times tonight, right? It's education of people, right? So it's us, seeing someone on there, me letting Cheryl know that our name's on the list and get down to town hall and pay for it. So,
Yeah, every time I go through the names of all the types of dogs, I'm always surprised. There's only a handful of kind of everything. Like, we finally have 2 cane corsos and 1 Portuguese water dog in town. It's like, come on, more Portuguese water dogs.
so, all right, so you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so I have a proposed motion. I hereby move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign the 2025 dog warrant as presented by the town clerk, authorizing the animal control officer to proceed with seeking out all dogs not duly licensed in the town of Freetown for the year 2025 in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 153, and Freetown Bylaws, Chapter 103-2, Section 2.
Motion made.
I will second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes. All right, so it looks like it's over to you, Selectman Lopes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, Personnel Board, item agenda 17, rescind the special municipal employee designation for the Civil Defense Director position effective 7/8/2025. I hereby rescind it. Easy enough. Item agenda 18, discussion and vote to designate the EMA.
Excuse me, Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
I think you need a motion to rescind that.
Well,
We
didn't
need to
ask for
Make a
it.
motion.
All right. I entertain a motion to rescind the special municipal employee designation for the Civil Defense Director position effective 7/8/2025.
Motion made?
A second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Luann. All right, item agenda 18, discussion and vote to designate the EMA Public Safety Director as a special municipal employee. All right. So, do we have anybody in mind? Okay, so up for discussion regarding I think this was just, we discussed this in the past, and this is us making it official.
Yeah, so basically what it was back January 2nd of 1991, the Board of Selectmen voted to designate the Civil Defense Director as a special municipal employee, but since then, we no longer have a Civil Defense Coordinator, we have an EMA Public Safety Director. So in order for it to be consistent throughout, it should be uniform, and that we have the special municipal employees as they are appointed, so that the terminology is correct. So it's just a cleanup. So we're rescinding the Civil Defense Coordinator and then replacing it with the EMA Public Safety Director. That's all.
Perfect. We want to make sure we're up to date.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And keeping everything in line, because we've learned that we've had stuff that's kind of all over the place and labeled different things, right? So
Yeah.
it's good that we have everything in line and worded as such.
All right. Any additional questions, concerns?
No.
All right. I entertain the motion to designate the I was right. I entertain the motion to designate the EMA Public Safety Director as a special municipal employee.
Motion made?
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
All right. Item agenda 19, discussion and vote to set the pay rate for temporary clerical at $19 an hour. All right.
This is for a seasonal person that we have.
Yep. So as the temporary name, it is just for seasonal employment. It's consistent with some of the other positions we have in town.
Yeah, we do have this one filled, but it's just for seasonal employment, clerical, not in the union.
Any questions, Drew?
No.
All right. 19, the motion to set the pay rate for temporary clerical at $19 an hour.
Motion made?
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Item agenda 20, discussion, vote whether to approve the reappointment of Nina Dumont as part-time senior clerk for Building and Board of Health effective 7/1/2025 through 6/30/2026. Let's see, keep Nina, hire someone else. No, I think we're going to keep her. I think she's been doing great over at the Board of Health as well as part-time senior clerk. So, yeah, good people are hard to find. So, I think no issues with reappointing her. I entertain the motion to approve and reappoint of Nina Dumont as part-time senior clerk for Building and Board of Health effective 7/1/2025 through 6/30/2026.
Motion made?
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
All right, 21, item agenda 21, discussion and vote whether to approve the appointment of David Cross to Tax Increment Financing Board, Planning Board Representative effective 7/8/2025 through 4/30/2026. Okay, thank you, Dave. Any questions, concerns?
No.
It's pretty straightforward. I entertain the motion to approve the appointment of David Cross to Tax Increment Financing Board, Planning Board Representative effective 7/8/2025 through 4/30/2026.
Motion made?
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
All right.
Now we're gonna do some signatures?
Signatures and go enjoy dinner.
There you go.
Do a new one. Don't worry
Sorry.
about it now. It's all right. I have to have you guys sign something else. It's not
Sorry.
here tonight. It's not a big deal. It's your HVAC preventive maintenance.
It's just that one.
Yep. And clerk.
I'm just gonna leave that whole house. You accept those two?
Okay, fine. Your dog warrant, the second one. It's helping.
Yeah, I know. No, thank you. I know. I'm laughing at myself.
Send the civil defense and appoint the ENA one. Clerical health rate. Appointment slip. I have to do this one when we read you the document, because I have to read you something on
I just
that
did
land
that.
one. That's okay. You get to come and visit me sometimes.
Yeah, imagine.
I'll be there tomorrow morning.
All right.
I'll have her ready for you.
Are we all good?
Yep.
We are.
All right. So with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
I will second it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Selectman Lopes?
Yes.
Selectman Zager?
Yes.
Like, you know what we're doing.